Good evening, my fellow fiends, and welcome to the second night of 31 Nights of Halloween, The Revenge. Something a bit different this year, we are breaking into movies, not just games, and I thought we'd get things rolling with my rankings of an 80s slasher series. Well, I had to, it's Halloween, what else could it be? So here is my ranking of the Friday the 13th series. Now, I will of course give my reasonings for each one, and to me this whole series is a bit of a guilty pleasure, as I don't hate a single entry, and some I know are as dodgy as all hell, but sometimes, who bloody cares, eh? Slashers all about fun, ain't they? It's hard to still make a killer scary when the series has gone through 12 titles, but bless it, it does try. So the ranking is more aimed at which I had the most fun with, so sometimes I have to find reasons just to put them in some kind of order, so it's not just me being picky. So remember, my ranking is just for fun because it's Halloween, and where I used to think people would think my rankings are a little off, I mean, come on, this is me. If you follow my retro channel, you'll know I can have, as I found out after the fact, some odd choices. But it does appear in the last few years some of these might not be the hot takes that I get you shot for than they used to be. Have a guess what you think I might place them, and after, I'd love to hear your rankings. Okay? Let's begin. Are you ready for this? In 12th place is Friday the 13th 3D, the one where Jason got his hockey mask and, for a man, has one of the most painfulest death scenes when Jason axes the poor dude in the crutch when he's doing handstands. The camera basically being under a glass floor to look up makes the scene all the more wincing. It also has the hippie stoner couple that I absolutely adore. I wish they had lasted longer, or if it survived. They should have been the last. Someone who I wish died in the first second, though, is of course Shelley. The man is as selfish as they come and beyond annoying. An irredeemable pile of shit. Yeah, I said it. The actor played the part too well. I haven't hated a character as much in a film in a long time. I mean, some can be annoying, but this character takes it to a whole new level. But the 3D into the camera is used miles too much. It never worked much anyway, but without the 3D glasses, it's just loads of silly camera shots where better ones could probably have been used for the scene. I mean, when I got that stupid yo-yo moment. It just makes it all a bit silly compared to the two films that preceded it, and doesn't have a story or characters to match the ones that came before or after. It's the most by-the-numbers entry in the series. It used to be near the top of my list, but as the years have gone on, I've come to appreciate the uniqueness of nearly all the other titles. At number 11 is Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. Alright, hear me out. The one where Jason was meant to face Carrie. It tries something different once more. This time we've got a girl, Tina, with telekinetic powers, who accidentally reawakens Jason with the same powers that killed her father when she was a kid. Sorry, that just makes me laugh. That woman's a bloody menace. Dr. Cruz is the doctor meant to be helping Tina overcome her trauma and therefore stop her telekinetic outbursts, but he's pure evil and deserves what comes to him. Jason's getting proper maggoty this time. Flesh is even rotting to the bone. The dude is really falling apart, bless him. Though that doesn't slow him down one bit. Jason is really good in this film. The movie had all the ingredients, but didn't hit anywhere near the heights of Friday 6, where in that, some of the kills were basically set pieces in themselves. It's still a fun romp, and it gets so fun towards the end, except for the actual end. I mean, I get it, but if you're going that way, number one, you saying they actually left her father's body down there all those years, and two, why did he still look like her father and not like Jason? Where were the maggots, I ask? I guess it's just a representation or something. But what? And in at number 10 is Freddy vs. Jason. I actually enjoy this film a lot whenever I watch it. It's a bit crappy, but it does do a lot of cool things. From the Nightmare on Elm Street point of view, yeah, it's more a Freddy film than a Jason film. The problem is how they handle Jason. Look, I get that Freddy is afraid of fire, and in the writer's head, it must have been a cool aha moment when they thought up Jason not liking water, because he's drowned, or not drowned, and been left at the bottom of the lake a fair few times. But throughout his entire run, water has never been an issue. I wonder if they saw Manhattan as the definitive version. I don't know. I mean, Jason does get some cool moments as well, like when he's on fire in the field and bursting on the rave. But even then, he's played for comedy mostly. He also does deal out the best kills. Well, I think Fred only gets like one, doesn't he? Thinking about it. The actual fight between them is fun in a slapstick kind of way, but when Freddy's throwing Jason around like a pinball machine is when it really hits. We are dealing with a later, more silly Freddy, like Freddy's Dead era. Jason does become the part of the joke in this film, and he's overshadowed mostly, but the only moments when they mix both Jason and Freddy's theme is kind of amazing to the ear. It fits so perfectly. In the end, it's like they actually had a kind of sound idea. It was just their implementation, and of course a lot I think is to do with when it was made, let's be honest. But saying all that, I've always had fun, and the stupid CGI Freddy Caterpillar puffing on a bong I'll always kind of love. The third Freddy movie opened up his series to this kind of stuff. For how amazing Part 3 was, it literally changed the trajectory, didn't it? So the Caterpillar fits into his world just fine. But yeah, poor Jason did get the short straw here. And in at number 9 is Friday the 13th, Jason Takes Manhattan. The one where Jason spends an hour on a boat and 30 minutes in Manhattan, and another girl with trauma from her past to overcome. This time it doesn't give her telekinetic powers though. She does have a gorgeous dog, so we can't forget that. We have a fully confirmed change from the original lore, which started in the second movie. Now Jason definitely died as a child in the lake, and he definitely came back to get revenge on the teenagers, because a teenager beheaded his mum. This will change a lot as we go through the list. I remember when I first watched it, the lack of Manhattan was a bit crappy, especially after the opening promising so much. But going back over the years, Murder Boat, as I like to call it, is quite fun. It's a great location, like a big haunted house, and some pretty inventive deaths. Jason likes to use the surroundings to his advantage, including the most legendary uppercut beheading, which is a fine thing indeed. Love it. Another interesting part of this that you don't see very often in a Friday movie, everyone knows about the murders with an hour to spare, so the remainder of the movie are the remainder of the survivors being chased down. And we do get a solid half hour in the city. Well, mostly back alleys, let's be honest, but there's a pretty awesome scene with Jason walking through Manhattan, and it's pretty badass. The weird flashes of Jason as a kid and the ending are a bit dodged, to say the least. I kind of get where it was going, but it ultimately doesn't really work. But overall, it's a lot of fun. It is one of the most unique titles in the series, spending most of the time on a boat and the remainder in a city. So it has that. And spoiler, the dog doesn't die, so it should be rewarded for that. It's like Jason went on holiday, though it's not the furthest he's ever travelled by far. And at number 8, I've put Jason X. I know, I'm sorry. The one where Jason gets cryogenically frozen, goes into space and becomes uber cyborg Jason. I feel it's generally a fun movie with a load of great lines. Has a frozen head death, which is fantastic, but sadly no kills in the movie can live up to it. And probably one of my favourite scenes in the whole movie when the android goes to kick his ass. It's stupid, it's ridiculous, and I generally love it. But I know we are far from what we were in the Friday the 13th franchise. And in at number 7 is the Friday the 13th 2009 remake. This was the first time watching this movie. I always avoided it, the Freddy remake and the Halloween remakes, all 5 of those. Well, the time has now come and I've bitten the bullet on 2 of the 3 franchises. You'll find out which the other one is later in the month. I mean, they can't be that bad, can they? Well, for Friday the 13th remake, actually no. I was so surprised at actually how good this movie was. In what we might had got and what I was expecting. I will admit Jason first quick appearance and kill was very underwhelming, but boy did he make up for it very quickly. And the fucker's huge and runs at you now. He is a ridiculously intimidating figure. I would poop my pants before probably having my head ripped off. It's funny that this remake is like the first 3 movies in one. The only credits depict Mummy Voorhees losing her mind in every sense of the word. We then have Sackcloth Head Jason really going for it. Then 6 months later, in the main body of the story, we have Hockey Mask Jason. His kills are vicious here. He really is a nasty fecker, and not being a zombie anymore, but a man who grew up in the world, this dude knows how to plan. Yeah, some things still don't totally make sense in all this. And the dude whose house they're staying at really needed to be the first death of the group, but hey, we got there in the end. I don't always understand why there has to be an annoying one in every title and they always act the part too well. Like, I have no quibble with the actor, he knew the task and he did it so well. The remaining three characters of the film I actually liked and was genuinely gutted for one of them. And we get one of our boys from Supernatural, and he's probably the best one here, which is funny, as in Supernatural I'm a bigger fan of his brother. Yeah, totally dumbfounded at actually how good this is. I fear I may not have as much luck with the other remakes, but you never know. And at number 6, and you must have realised you hadn't heard it yet, so I'm sorry about how high this is Jason Goes to Hell. I'm sorry. The one where Jason is a black gooey slug thing that possesses people. Yes, Jason is played by a lot of people in this one movie. It's very, very different from the norm. And they've yet again changed the law of the franchise. A news report early on says they thought Jason drowned when he was 11, but they were wrong. But that could be just that they couldn't believe he can keep coming back from the dead. So I don't know which way it means. We also have an extension to that. Now Jason can't die. If his body gets too fecked up, he can jump to another, of course. But they don't last long. Only another Voorhees can sustain his presence. The new rule apparently pulled from the air or someone's arse. Jason can only live by a Voorhees, and Jason can only be finally destroyed by a Voorhees. And yeah, he always had a sister, apparently, and a niece. Now, I can see why people don't like this one, but I think the years have been kind. The movies does have a great opening, subverting your expectations before blowing Jason's original body into smithereens all before the opening titles. This is easily the goriest Jason movies by miles. I did watch the new 4K unrated version. I didn't realise this was the first time until I saw a woman getting split in half bottom to top, and a man melting that goes further than the original Robocop, and so many others. And who's to say this isn't always the way to really kill Jason, considering nothing else has worked up to this point, and his sister was in plain sight hiding for 8 movies. None of the characters are particularly annoying. Gold stars go to the scene-chewing Duke, oh my god, that man, and the family who run the diner. I fucking love them. The twist ends showing this is definitely now a New Line property, and a promise that two titans would be clashing, though that might take longer than anyone would think. My only question, putting the unique premise aside, why, when New Line got the property, was their first thought to actually kill him? Like, why start there? Anyway, this is a guilty pleasure with a lot to love, easily some of the best, most gruesome deaths, and even has time to throw in the Necromonicon, aka an Evil Dead reference. I could never hate this movie. And at number 5, and this goes a lot of different ways for different people, it's the original Friday the 13th. The teenagers aren't too annoying, and one of them is Kevin Bloody Bacon. Though most of the kills are off screen with the results shown straight after or a bit later, we do get a couple of cool ones, Kevin's being the most well known, arrow through the throat, bless the bacon for his service. Mother Voorhees is amazing. Even if she only pops up in the final scenes, oh my god, does she work her ass off, she chews that, oh I love her. It's interesting, it's really the only one where you can pull off certain kills or at least setups. There are point of view shots from the killer when the victim is talking to them but acting chill. This could never happen with Jason himself. And in retrospect does hint to the identity of the killer. Now there is an argument that when watching for the first time there's no way you could guess who the killer is until the reveal. Though there are a few light hints placed here and there. But in the end, this isn't Scream, it's not really a whodunit, even if it pretends to be, but the setup works well for this movie. The last shots where Alice rests on the boat in the lake are wonderful. It starts off beautiful before turning totally Carrie. What I love about this final moment and the girl waking up in the hospital, in its own context, this could be just a poor girl having lost her mind. In fact, the last scene wasn't there to set up a sequel. It was just there as the last scene. Don't quote me on that though, I could be wrong. It's not into the sequel that her nightmares are realised and become real. The film for me is deducted quite a few points though for killing a poor guy's snake on camera in front of him. The handler was said to be inconsolable. Unfortunately, this was before there were any rules or laws in place to protect animals on film, I believe. You don't want to know about horses and buffalo during country and westerns from way back. Ugh, it's quite bad. I would admit I don't know why the scene is still in the movie as is. When you can't get the new 4K copy of The Abyss in this country, as the director or producer won't allow a certain scene to be cut or changed, like they have in every previous version. So no Abyss for us. And in this particular case, I'd say he was a prick. A prick for doing it at the time and for being so obsessed with keeping it. Dude, if it was so safe, why weren't your actors doing it instead? Just saying. Sorry, ran over. So yeah, one tiny bad moment in a genuinely great slasher movie, even if this first entry was running off the tail feathers of Halloween, it still had its own flair, a fabulous killer and great atmosphere, and it's probably one of the most beautifully shot, all being said. Right, in at number 4, are you ready? It's Friday the 13th, Part 2. The one where Jason never actually drowned. The end sequence of the last movie had to be a dream, as he's the actual age he should be, and not a child anymore, and it's a dab hand at Google Map, even though it didn't exist, as he manages to track down his mum's killer in the opening moments. So yes, our first change of law in the series. In the original, Mrs. Voorhees goes on a killing spree after her son drowned in the lake. In this, Jason did drown in the lake and lived in the wild, or some such, becoming a wild man. Seeing his mum get beheaded, he sets off on revenge to kill the one who did it, and then any teenager after that. I think he's terrifying with just a sack on his head. I don't know, it just makes it seem more visceral somehow, and we've got another awesome ending to this one. I adore the final scenes in Jason's lair with the head of his mother, and I swear, even up to the credits, you swear the bitch is going to open her eyes. Honestly, I just kept staring and staring. I still do, and I'm like, she's going to open her eyes, isn't she? No, she's not. This also has one of my favourite final girls from the series. I just think she's bloody awesome. And at number 3 is Friday the 13th. Part 5, A New Beginning. The one that Jason wasn't in. Yes, Jason really did die at the end of the Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter, but they made another film anyway. I don't know how many people knew it wasn't going to be Jason when the mask fell from his face at the end. I didn't when watching it on the VHS the first time. Being the second who done it in the series, sort of. At least this time you see the killer earlier in the story, unlike a certain mother. But what's funny, I remember after the first time watching, I was perplexed. It was so left field. But honestly, watching back, huge neon sign pointing to the killer very early on in the movie. It's actually funny how much they make a point of it. Like, how could it not be them? I like that it continues Tommy Jarvis' story, the consequences of what happened after Part 4, and Tommy's mental state ever since. This chapter also has probably the best mixture of characters, a fair few quirky. Ethel springs to mind with her bloody stew. Reggie, the youngest cast member, is the absolute goat. He's the nicest, kindest, resourceful character, and absolutely kick-ass. His family were the best characters in this story. Reggie, his sweet granddad, oh bless him, and his legendary brother Demon, oh my god, who met his demise in the outdoor toilet. Oh baby. Sadly, this character was so underutilised. We also have another legendary dance. Some may not think it's up to the levels of Crispin Glover's moves in Friday 4, but I'd argue it's superior due to how well it's framed. Filmed much better because of the imminent death. And those moves, girl. I would say this was the most aggressive of the Friday movies, apart from maybe the remake, and the highest body count, at least up to this point, and probably the most sleazy. Is it true the director made porn before this? That would make sense, but don't quote me. There's about 8 slasher movies worth of titty shots in this. Like, these girls will get them out at any opportunity. They might as well have had set this in a nudist colony. It's almost like they knew what they were in. And in second place, my second Friday the 13th of all time is Friday the 13th, Part 4, The Final Friday. I think this is the best of the initial 4. It has so much going for it, and in many ways is the perfect distillation of the first 3 movies. Here they perfected the formula. Worth watching for Crispin's legendary dancing and his double whammy death. Tommy Jarvis played brilliantly by young Corey. Normally kids are annoying, but he isn't. He's actually resourceful, not only throughout the movie, trying to fix stuff, but in the final battle with Jason as well. The head-crushing shower death scene is harsh, but it's been overly cut annoyingly. Jason's end is suitably satisfying, and it does really feel like the end of him. Of course, just like all of them, there are baffling moments. Like, I get it, a guy is nailed across the door way, so she can't get out that way. But at the other door, there is just a dead body on the floor. She seems to be unable to step over, instead opting for a chair to the window and scrambling out that way. Bizarre. I just bloody love this film. And in first place, and you must have worked out in your head, you're thinking, where's that one? It's Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. The one where Jason comes back in full zombie mode. Though it could be argued he's been a zombie since the start. Did he actually drown on the lake as a boy? This is also the third part of the Tommy Jarvis trilogy, arguably the strongest chain of films in the whole series. There are a bit of retconning between part 5 and 6. 6 was obviously originally meant to be Tommy going full Jason, but everything including the visions of Jason of the last movie have been explained over at the earliest opportunity. It was just hallucinations brought on by trauma. This film is just so much fun. The deaths are fun. Most of the victims, though of course are cannon fodder, all seem to have a bit of character. A fair few kills are done as comedy, either dark or outright silly. I'm thinking of the first couple he comes across and the paintballers especially. And there's some actual decent build-up set pieces as well, like the camper van kills. That's a great one. There are actual kids at the camp as well, so for once we actually see the camp counsellors doing their bloody job instead of having sex. And what at first feels even weirder is the final girl isn't the final girl. You think it was Paula from the camp. She is the stereotypical girl that would be the last one if she was in any of the other movies, basically. But nope, not here. For all this film's silliness, there are some great scenes too. I especially like the scene where Jason is walking outside the cabin alongside Paula without her noticing, seeing he is in line whenever she walks past a window. In fact, there are so many great moments at the cabins with the kids, from brilliant lines like, "So what did you want to be when you grew up?" meaning he knew they were going to die, or at least he thought they did, to funny moments like the kid grabbing the hamster when they have to hide under the bed and the arm coming out to grab the teddy really quick. That always makes me laugh. Yeah, the film is total batshit, but I don't care. There are too many great moments and I'll forgive it anything. It's just a great old time. And there we have it. 12 titles, and there is actually a 13th. A very short film I'm sure you can catch on YouTube that was made as part of a collaboration with a cider drink. I forget. It's interesting. I liked parts, and it went back to the idea that it was like an evil presence, one that has Jason and maybe can take over other people as well. I'm wondering if this is the route they might take in a rumoured new movie. Also, there is an upcoming series based on the origin when he was a child and includes lots of his awesome mother. Think The Bates Show, that was a prequel to the Amazing Psycho series. To add to the hot takes, Psycho 2 is on almost everywhere a better movie than the original. It is, I'm sorry. This isn't even an opinion, it's fact. And it has one of my favourite endings ever. I could love it. Always. I just had to squeeze that one in, sorry. And so, my freaky friends, have you seen all the Friday and Jason movies? How would you rank them? As always, let me know in the comments below. And so the second night of Halloween has come to an end. I'll come back tomorrow for some more spooky Silent Hill shenanigans. But until then, good fright, sleep tight, hope Jason isn't waiting to axe you in the night.